a team thing because it's not just like me, like my husband obviously participates, but also like there's a lot that goes into it behind the scenes too. Like I said, like doing the inner work has been something for me that's been a constant process of like working through the shame and the religious stuff. And so like he's there for me on the like mental and emotional and all the different sides too.
When you block those people, like, why did you block them? Were they just being like overly crude and rude? Like, what was their, I mean, I
Yeah,
block people on Instagram on a weekly basis, who have an
right.
opinion. So go on.
Yeah. It's like I'm pretty I can set a boundary with someone. I think for the most part, people come in nice. If you come in guns ablazing at me, and then I set a firm boundary with you, and then you still are an asshole, like that's when I block you. But actually, what happens with Instagram, this is the best feature, is that obviously they've paid you money, right? And so there's two options. You can restrict them, which means that you keep the money, but they can't participate at all. They can't message you and they can't comment, right? So, but they still get access to your content. So technically they're still getting my nudes. Or you can block them, which means that they get their money returned and they no longer have access to you. So if I set a firm boundary and then they're still like rude or negative or whatever, then you're gone.
I like to keep the money. And honey, you could observe this from the other side of your phone, wherever you are in the world. But
That's
I
my
mean, there's
favorite,
no DM or contact or comments, but by all
right?
means, pay me my fee here.
Yeah, that's what I was like, come on, Instagram and Twitter, like we need to pick it up and have that as an option. Like, I don't want to hear from you. I don't want to see a comment, but baby, you can keep watching.
Seriously, I'm the same way. Like it takes a lot for me to block you, but it's like when
Yeah.
you come in guns blazing, like you can disagree with me, you cannot like
Sure.
my guess. You got to really go low and then just keep being low. And I'm like, why are
Exactly.
you on my page now?
Right? I was like,
And many
don't.
days I don't care. I'm too busy. But it's for me, it's like therapy to block someone because it's like when I'm in the mood to go back at you, then you're actually helping me out because I'm just in the mood today and I'm going to take it out on
Right?
you. And then I
Yeah,
block you and then we move on, right?
exactly.
Have you done like, I just look at because like there's a lot of reality TV people that listen to this podcast. You look at like some of these reality TV people. I don't know if you're up on it, like the Chrisleys and Jen Shaw, like they're all, they're in jail. They ended up living above their means. Like, have you adjusted to your newfound money, from your teacher salary? Like, have you treated yourself to anything? And like, do you find it hard to not just now splurge and spoil your kids and just enjoy the luxury of your riches?
I think it's a combo of both, right? Like I definitely went when the first article came out about me, it was a great financial month. And so I went out and got myself a Mercedes convertible, which was very, very nice. We do splurge and we do spend money and we do spoil our kids. And there is like a part of me that is still I feel like I'm constantly working through like money things because like I grew up poor and then experienced being poor as an adult where you're kind of like you like almost want to hoard it, like you're almost like I notice there's like tendencies where I'm like, oh, I'll give you an example. When you have the laundry soap and you're like, that's at the end, and you're like, I'm gonna put water in it to get every last bit. Where there's like tendencies in me where I'm like, oh, like that, like old, like I don't have any money to get another one. So you do shit. And I was like, I don't have to do that anymore. And so I feel like I'm actually still like reminding myself, like, you don't have to like scrape the bottom of this. You can like buy another one or whatever. So I think it's a working through that.
I don't think that's so bad. I didn't grow up poor, but I grew up with like my parents were always like, you're one step away from losing it all. So I just like, I think if you work for yourself, that's like a good, hungry, like I'm
Yeah.
miserable. I tell people I'm miserable January 1st because regardless of the money from last year, I make zero this year. It's the first. Now, by the end of the day, maybe you made money, but you're like, it's still zero on January 1st as well. So it's
Yeah.
like, I think that's good. Like to have, I don't know, that's just me. Like I have
Yeah.
those like, this is good, but like I think two false moves and you could be away from like financial ruin. That's just
It
how
keeps
my
you
mind
driven.
thinks.
It keeps you
Yeah,
driven,
it,
I
it
feel
keeps
like.
you
Yeah.
driven.
Yeah.
Well, that's good. And a Mercedes is always good.
Right.
Do
And in
your
Southern California, a convertible is the dream.
I'm in New York now, but I split my time between New York and LA. And I'm one of these people that now that I'm bi-coastal, I do not drive in LA. People think I'm insane. They're like, how do you live there? It's like, it is possible, believe it or not. You just take Ubers everywhere. But I'm not interested in driving ever.
Yeah, I get that. I totally get that.
Do your kids like I know you have small children. I don't know how old they are. Like, are they
We have
aware?
4.
Oh, I know. But I didn't know exactly how old they were. Like for like, do they know what you do? Or are they just too young?
So we have so my husband has 2 previous from a previous relationship, but we've been together 12 years, so I've helped raise them. We have a 9-year-old, a 10-year-old, a 20-year-old, and a 21-year-old. And so the older ones obviously know. The funny thing is that I actually taught at the school that they attended. And so they've always kind of had to deal with like, that's your mom, like that kind of shit. Um, so the older ones know, and the oldest one actually works for us and helps do like social media and website stuff. And so like I'm like, I need my OnlyFans course like uploaded. I need this done. And so she's very much aware. And then the younger ones, they've known that I've modeled since they were little. And they're coming to start to understand Google and how that works. And they came to me a couple weeks ago and they're like, Courtney, Tillia on OnlyFans. And so they're like, they know that I model. They know that I actually do nude photo shoots because we actually have nude photos of me in the living room, where I'm just wearing rose petals. So they know, but it's also age appropriate conversations. I mean, even when I was a school teacher, it wasn't like I came home and told my kids all about my day and like, mom got beat up today by some kids. Like it's not like that. So it's very age appropriate, but yeah,
Do
they know
they
some.
know what OnlyFans is? Like when they Google, like, do they know what that is?
No. They know it's like a social media platform, kind of like Instagram, Facebook, but they don't know the extent of it.
And then what, like when you say the school, like they go to that school, like is it the other kids? Like is it the actual administration or is it like people's parents? Like, and does it trickle down of like, I don't want you hanging out with those kids from
No,
parents?
we've never had any issues. I'm sure that I know that my kids' friends' parents know because we were just on the Dr. Phil show, and the Dr. Phil show came and filmed our entire family. And so my kids were very excited that the Dr. Phil show was at our house. And so the school very much knows, but we live in such a like very loving and open area that people are very loving and accepting, and no one has ever said anything derogatory to me, to my kids. The school has never said anything. Everyone's been very loving and accepting.
That's good because that could go so many different ways.
Yeah. I think they also know that I used to be a school teacher and that I know the laws. And so I think there's a kind of that balance too, where they're like, we ain't gonna mess with her.
That's always good when they know that you know the laws, right?
Right? Yep.
Do you consider what you do, again, no shame, like sex